In the learning sciences, this is a typical modern desktop. It is a flickering, endless loop of open tabs, overlapping windows, and constant notifications. In a single hour, a standard workflow might require you to jump from a CRM over to an inbox, into a sequencing tool, across to LinkedIn, and down into an AI prompter. We have trained ourselves to view this high-speed juggling act as the mark of a highly capable professional. Yet you can reach the end of a 10-hour day feeling completely drained, realizing you haven't moved the needle on a single major project. This persistent fatigue is the physical evidence of a fragmented workflow that is constantly taxing your system. In the learning sciences, this exhaustion has a name: the context switching penalty. Every time your eyes move to a new interface, your brain must wipe the slate clean and dump the previous tool's rules. Then it immediately loads the new software's rules. This friction adds up. Shifting interfaces consumes 40% of your daily mental capacity. The invisible friction of tool navigation creates a greater barrier to success than the actual volume of work on your plate. Fixing this requires auditing human attention as a strict daily economic budget, rather than an infinite well. We measure this budget using a metric called Return on Cognitive Spend, or ROCS. When your tech stack is fragmented, you spend a massive portion of that daily budget fighting administrative friction rather than producing actual output. You end up burning heavy amounts of mental fuel just to reach the starting line of a task. That is a negative return. The math here is zero-sum. Any effort spent clicking between interfaces is effort stolen directly from your capacity to think critically. Consider this budget breakdown. This bar graph represents a daily cognitive capacity of 100 units. If you allocate 80 units to managing the friction of a sprawling tech stack, you are left with a minuscule reserve of just 20 units for actual productive labor. This tiny sliver of remaining energy is rarely enough to power the intense strategic judgment required to close a deal. Operating at an 80-20 cognitive deficit guarantees long-term burnout and stalled performance. You cannot outwork a negative ROCS. Because you are fighting biology, the structural architecture of your work environment requires a complete overhaul. The solution to this deficit is a process called collapsing the stack. By deploying centralized AI agents, the machine handles the background data routing across those 5 platforms. For you, the operational reality simplifies. You work from one unified hub instead of jumping between 5. The machine absorbs the transition tax, eliminating the biological cognitive friction from your day. This shift means you stop squandering your mental bandwidth on low-value desk navigation. Those 80 units of reclaimed mental energy can finally be invested where they belong, into high-value strategic judgment. Your ability to think deeply and map out strategy is the only true driver of revenue. Stop letting poor tool architecture drain your capability. Reclaim your mind, balance your cognitive budget, and start operating at a true positive return on your investment.